Right, so Russell, I would say welcome to the club, but you've been around for a few weeks now. So sort of Acco's brought you in as his right-hand man, you're sort of joint managers together. So how do you see the role of joint managers working for you two?
The thing is, as you said, I mean, we've been in the role a few weeks now. It's been a very hectic few weeks. But in terms of Dodds, we're best mates. We've known each other since we were 9 years of age. We know each other inside out. We know how we work. We was together at Cov United. Okay, Darren was my assistant, but it's very much that we are mates. And I think it's so important that the way we make decisions, we talk to each other every day. It's only good for the club.
And I know that a key part of Acco actually coming into this role was that he wanted you to be alongside with him, because Acco knows the higher levels, of course, with his time at Barnet, Solihull, Nuneaton as well. But you've sort of got experience at this sort of level as well. So how do you think that's helped with the likes of player recruitment and things like that?
Well, obviously from obviously Darren. Yeah, Darren called me, I'll be honest. And we had a chat and said they wanted to see us. The board wanted to see us. So, yeah, obviously, Nuneaton Town, obviously the new name now. I've known it a long time because of playing myself. Obviously, with Darren, yes, I've got more experience at the level 6, 5, 4, probably more than that of Darren, because Darren's more 3 and 2. So, in terms of experience in players, yes, of course, I know a lot of players, a lot of lads we've signed. From step 5, from step 4, is lads that I've managed already, or they've played with me, or played alongside me, or something like that. So yeah, it's my knowledge, obviously, that works with Darren.
So again, you've mentioned about the fact that you've sort of managed a few of these players before, coached them. So has that made the conversations easier about bringing them in, or like you've sort of got previous relations?
Yeah, totally. Obviously, from my background, I started. When I was still playing, I started going to management, so player assistant. And then obviously when I retired out of semi-pro football, I went into full-time management. So a lot of clubs that I have managed have been 6, 5 and 4. So where I've been involved. So a lot of players that obviously within the circle of them leagues, yeah, of course I know them. And we've had a lot of conversations with a lot of players. And as I said, some players we haven't agreed with. But obviously, the good thing at the minute, we've had a good amount of them agree, and the squad at the minute is looking good.
So yeah, let's sort of touch on the fact that you've mentioned there about obviously players not agreeing. So you and Acco have come into this with a game plan, players that you want to get. How, as a management duo, have you had to deal with players sort of saying no to the club? Have you sort of got players already like sort of asking a few players from different positions as a way of that, or are you having to adjust your plans?
We had as soon as we got offered the job, you set about working. We put a list together of players that we would straight away want to target. You look at positions, you look at a squad. If you remember right, apart from the academy lads that have got progressed into the first team now, the whole squad is new in terms of Nuneaton Town. So we had to have a target list. But one thing about it is, and I stress this, is everyone's going on and about the Nuneaton, the target and all this and money and all that kind of stuff. For me, is I've sat down with players, and some players we sit down and you talk about pay and all that, and they're dreaming, if you want to say, and we're not going to do that. Yes, we are starting again. Yes, we're going to build a project and we're going to go in the right direction, but we're not going to do it for the sake of it. We're going to do it right, and me and Daz have been very good that we'll work it with what we need to work it, not just for sake of players saying it's at Nuneaton, they're going to give me what I want.
Yeah, and again, earlier you mentioned about, you coming out of semi-pro football into management. So can we sort of go through your career in football and then into playing football and then into management?
Yeah. Obviously, as a young lad, I was at the Albion for many years. Got released at 17. Went to Kiddie Harriers, where I've done a pro. And then when I came out of Kiddie, I played at a semi-pro level for the likes of Tamworth, Hensford, Solihull. So that's a good level, which is talking then step 1, step 2, step 3. And then I also played Step 5 quite a bit with Blacknell, Bloxwich, Stourbridge, when Stourbridge with that Step 5. And I won Step 5 3 times. Step 4 I won it with Blacknell. So I've been around the whole of non-league football. And then obviously when I was coming out of the game, coming out of fully playing, I started to do a bit in management at Bromsgrove when I was there for a while. When they had that problem with, again, the shareholder pulling out. So I helped the chairman run the club, really run the side. And then I went in with Bob Green at Albury and player assistant. And then Mark Hallam at Bedworth. So I started that, and then when I finally finished at semi-pro level, I went into management, and I managed the likes of Cradley Town, Highgate, Lichfield City for 5 years. Obviously, I've been at Coton, and so it's around the area of the leagues that we are in again. So that's where the knowledge will come in.
And you've also mentioned about the fact that you've got some of these academy lads coming through. Acco's got a previous relationship with Kyle Storer, but what's your relationship like with Kyle, and what's your vision for these academy players?
Well, going back to me being player assistant with Mark Hallam at Bedworth, we gave Kyle his debut at 16 years of age. So I've known Kyle many years. So my relationship with Kyle's is a long term. For me, Kyle, great coach, was a great player. Well, he's still playing. But I talk to him all the time, and obviously the lads that have come through and progressed, and that's the way it should be. As I said to you before, is that the lads have got to have a gateway, they've got to have a pathway coming through from the under-21s into the first team. And some of the lads were really pleased to, because I know some of the players that have signed, that played a few games for Step 3 last year, have been poached by Step 4 clubs, and they've agreed to stay with us because they want to play for the Nuneaton.
Yeah, and again, you sort of mentioned about these young lads, they're all local guys. So is that sort of yours and Acco's remit for players? You want sort of players that are local. You don't want people travelling from hours and hours away. Is there sort of a mantra that you two have set yourselves when you're looking for players? Yeah,
well, first and foremost, we look for the best players that are going to win the league for this club and take the club back up in the leagues. Of course, you want local lads, and as I said, the big thing about the academy is progressing the local talent. But we have signed some local players. Some are going to come out, obviously, in the press soon on social media. But it's not. It can't be just about that. And what I mean by that is, if we just totally said, if you live in Nuneaton and Coventry area, you're going to play for Nuneaton, maybe not be right for us to win the league or get promoted. And that is the target. Whatever league we play in, if we're not setting up to try and get promoted, there's no point playing.
And finally, Acco's got experience, Step 3, obviously with the previous entity of the club. You yourself, time at Coton, you know these leagues very well. So what can fans expect from matches at this level, and what can fans expect from you and Acco in terms of your aims for this season?
Well, our first aim, as I've just said, is promotion for the club. And that doesn't matter whatever club we are at, that is where we look to go. For me, when we're looking at players, when we're talking about the league, everybody knows what Step 6 is about. Everybody knows what it's different from playing at Step 3. But the thing about it is the lads all understand what they've got to do. The lads that know that, okay, we're going to play at Bedworth at home, it's a 4G, you're going to pass the ball. When we go away, we are going to go to some places that you've got to roll your sleeves up and be prepared to battle and win the game. The good thing is, on the squad we're building now, is we have a complete squad that can prepare to do that.
Well, Russell, thank you for taking the time to sort of explain your career and your expectations to the fans, and all the best for the season.
Thanks a lot, Owen.